So, good evening, everybody. Welcome. After this 3 week break, and I hope you enjoyed the harp there. The track is called Seeking, and as always, it's from Tara and recorded by her husband Ken. Tara and Ken Cook. So, yeah, welcome. Hope you've managed to continue with your meditations and so forth for the last 3 weeks. We had a great time in the Greek islands. Those of you on Facebook may have seen some of the pictures. Very beautiful, and lovely to be back and sharing with you. So, as you will have seen, the title of tonight's stream is Self Realization is Natural. Self Realization is Natural. And I'm just going to say a few hellos to those that I can see I've said hello on here. So that's Lee, D, Sean, Miggy, David, Simon, Christine, Asha, Lois, and Sandy, and I'm guessing also Claire's possibly watching if Simon's there as well. And did I say Lois? I can't remember. So yeah, welcome to you all, and others that haven't necessarily said hello on the chat. Oh, Leah Tilda, hello to you, and Curtis has just come up as well. So yeah, and anybody else who's watching who hasn't said anything on the chat, welcome to you. And if you're watching on catch up, welcome to you as well. Oh, Simon's saying we've been feeling like the shift has hit the fan in the last few months. I'm assuming that the F is meant to be there, is it? Or so yeah, definitely things are shifting rapidly, if that's what you're meaning, Simon. Or did you mean without the F? Anyway, perhaps you'll let me know. Okay, so yeah, self-realization is natural. He meant without the F. Okay, so there's quite a lot going on there. We'll perhaps talk about that in a while then. So yeah, the inspiration for this one, apart from the naturalness of self-realization, is that at an event, I think it was last year actually, somebody made the comment in the midst of a workshop, an event, and it went something like this: you pointing at me or indicating me, you're obviously so much more spiritually advanced than I am. And this, it turns out, is a big misunderstanding, because people talk about spiritual development and so forth. But I'm going to kick off with a phrase that kind of just a point at that. Oh, he did mean shift. Good. I'm pleased to hear that, Simon. So, so the phrase I shared with everybody at that time, pointing at this, is spiritual development is not possible. Self-realization is natural. Spiritual development is not possible. Self-realization is natural. Now, what do I mean by that? Because certainly when one embarks upon a spiritual practice, it will certainly appear like a journey is taking place, and things are improving over time, or there's some ups and downs, waves in the ocean. Sometimes there's stuff coming up, sometimes it feels calmer, and all the rest of it, and it feels like a linear journey because we're so used to measuring things in that way in the human experience. But what's fundamentally important to remember always with this whole thing to do with self-realization, fundamentally important, is that all of us are already this realized essence. All of us, without exception. And you remember in the prior streams, stream 24, I talked about that this self in self-realization is not personal. It is simply the infinite silence or infinite awareness itself. And if it's infinite, it cannot not be here now. And as the self is realized, it becomes, not surprisingly, self-evident. And one of the many things that comes with that is that always, and indeed always and all ways, you have been this. This will be obvious. It's not the kind of thing that can be missed. And so, self-realization becomes the natural essence of who you are. Or it is realized that it is the natural essence of who you are, and that one has always been this. And so there's never really been any development to it. What's actually happened is all of the baggage in the way of it, its realization, has cleared. And now it becomes self-evident, and it is here now. It is here now, in this moment, at this moment. Always has been, always will be. Yet in the from the human space, it will appear like a journey. But it's not a path of achievement. It's not a goal. One is already this. And so people often want to know, well, how do I get there? How do I realize this? And the simple pointing on that is you get there by realizing you are already there. And that's why it's called the pathless path, or the gateless gate. The emphasis there is on pathless and gateless, not on the second word, path or gate. One simply is this. And if one can simply accept utterly, totally, that one is this, trust in that completely, then the dissolution of the fundamental block, which is the belief that it's not here for you now, not here for you now, in this moment, that will go of its own accord. No effort required. Last stream, effortless grace. The realization of the self ultimately will not be because of anything you have done. It will not be because of anything you have done. It will be because you are already this. So why then do we embark on any spiritual practice? And as I've said before, the purpose of all spiritual practice is so you don't have to. So you don't have to practice at being who you really are, because you are already this. And so meditation, as we've been doing for the last 3 months, at first feels like a practice and an effort, until eventually, as one flowers into the realization the time appears ripe, one becomes the living meditation. What starts out as a practice flowers into that which has already been, always been here. And so that's why it's not about a developmental process, it's about a realization of the natural essence of what's already here. Trust that's making sense. I cannot overemphasize to you the importance of this point. It's not about learning anything. It's not about achieving something. It's not about a goal. It's not about a time-bound thing like by 2020 I will be self-realized. It's not about which space you are in. It's not about worthiness. It's not about something that only the special few. It's not about striving. And it's not about proving. None of those things. No path, because it's already here. No journey, because it's already here. No goal, because it's already here. You are already this. You know my website, Gateway Location. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the domain name for that came 7 years before it became clear what it was meant to be for. You are the gateway location. It's you as the realized essence that is infinite silence. That's what gateway location means. You are it and it is you. The realized essence. That's why the site is called that. It's you. The true you, the non-personal essence, you. I said it's not about worthiness. You are before or even beyond the idea of worthiness. Worthiness is a concept. It's not about the amount of good deeds or things that you may perceive that you've done wrong. Nothing to do with that. You're simply this. There's nothing for you to prove. There's no supreme authority looking over you and going, "Ooh, that Simon's a good guy. He can be next." No, doesn't work like that either. You're already this. You're already this. It's not for the special few. And actually this is more prevalent than you might realize, which is where Simon's comment about a shift, a rapid shift going on over the last few months. Certainly I have seen considerable changes in the last 3 months, an acceleration, a deepening of awarenesses, deeper realizations emerging. It feels to me like it's really starting to accelerate. So, nothing to prove. Not for the special few. For all. Not about striving to achieve a goal, get a grade A in self-realization. No. Self-realization is self-realization and you are it. It's really much more about allowing or opening accepting, trusting. So the trusting becomes the knowing that it's here and you are this. There's nothing for you to achieve. There's nothing for you to do. And there's nothing you can do about it. You are this. And yet, there's great benefit in committing to a meditation program, because the meditation becomes that which you are. Meditation then becomes not that which you do, it becomes, or you realize it is that which you are. Life is the living meditation, the living silence, the living awareness. So simple. This is so fundamentally simple. It's even before the idea of simple. You're just simply this. That's it. And then the life in this form can be a more harmonious, a more graceful experience. You're still going to have to go down to the supermarket and whatever you do to live, but it'll be realized that you are this. We are this. Self-realization. So back to that beginning sentence. Spiritual development is not possible. Self-realization is natural. Nothing to develop into, just realize what's here. What could be simpler? What could be simpler? No way for you to go other than just be here as this. Seems contrary to everything the conditioning has shown us. Nowhere for mind to go. Just simply here. Nothing to do about it. One is this. That's it. That simple. Just close your eyes for a moment. Just see. It's here. The silence. The essence. The awareness. And the witness is emerging, watching all this, flowering, flowing, but the silence is still. Still here. Never not been here. Be still and know. Just this. Just this. See what your heart has to say about that, because it's nothing to do with believing anything Philip says. There is no Philip. There's just the silence appearing in this form, or this form, or your forms, all at once. That's why it's natural. we're moving from normalness to naturalness. We've been conditioned into normalness, and the normalness is dropping away, and the naturalness reveals itself. And here it is. Good. Self-realization is natural. The most natural thing, or no thing, perhaps more accurately, in the universe. And the great news is, you, in the non-personal sense, are already this. How good's that? How good is that? So let me just have a pick up on any comments that have been coming through here. Yeah, I've already commented on a lot of shifting going on. Yeah. As this deepens into and your awareness deepens, I've said before, all of the stuff that you are not comes to present itself. And it's simply a matter of just allowing that to be there and witness it in the trusting and the knowing that you're not that. That's what Livestream 11's all about. The transmutation process of fear into love. This trusting becomes the knowing. So it may vary from person to person. If it's manifesting in the throat area, for instance, then it may be to do with things to do with the throat chakra and communication, possibly. If it's in the heart area, it may be stuff you're carrying in your heart. In the throat usually means to do with expression, self-expression. But the expression of your truth, the highest truth. And if fear comes up, like Simon's saying there at the moment, then just let that fear be there. Don't deny it. Don't run away from it. It's just an energy. And as you watch, it simply will dissolve. Lots of people got stuff to do with throat by the sounds of it. So for me, that's saying about the expression of who you really are. Letting go is more about dissolution of that which you are not. There isn't actually ultimately anyone to let go of the stuff. It never was yours, but you believed it to be, and thus created the experience of it being yours. So if you depersonalize it, you step back and simply know that that's not the truth of who you are, whilst accepting that it's here, not running away, but simply trusting the silence. Then it will simply dissolve of its own accord, like the ice cube in the water that I talked about quite a bit on the previous streams. And you know, the reason fear keeps on cropping up, is because the key fear of ego, mind, is its own demise. And it will ultimately manifest that as a fear of death of the body. But actually what's dying is the identification, the attachment and belief in the idea or the concept that you are that. So That's why fear keeps on. It will ultimately keep on manifesting as fear. At the root of all of the emotions is fear. Just simply watch, simply allow, and know that the root of any fear is this single fear to do with the demise of the ego mind as the one who you are. And as you pass through this apparent portal or gateless gate of that fear, the natural blossoming emerges. Let's just have a look at, I'm just trying to sort of respond to the comments as they come up. So Lois is in, I had a throat stuff a few months ago, and it seemed to be around speaking my truth, not making myself small. This is quite a common one, Lois, and it sounds like quite a few other people have been having different manifestations of that, and what the way you're articulating it there is probably one of the most common ways it manifests, because ego mind, whether it's the great dictator or the shrinking violet, it's still a smallness in comparison to the infinite. So this is a good expression that you've articulated there, Lois. It's allowing oneself to accept that one is, in the non-personal way, the silence. And it doesn't get any bigger than that. In fact, the word big is meaningless. Infinite means infinite. Unbounded, unlimited. What's Lee saying? I realised I was still holding on to old possessions. Didn't realise I was still not, I hadn't fully released my ex-partner. So these are different expressions, different things that we've identified with, attached ourselves to and believed in, that we think that we need in life. And it's a very human thing to do. But the more that we're open to just simply realizing that our joy is independent of any circumstance, situation, relationship, etc., etc., then that transmutation process becomes easier. The more that it's depersonalized from the small idea of you, the simpler and easier it gets. We end up where, there's nothing to hold on to. And that's why it's sometimes called falling into grace. Falling into grace. And that falling, if allowed, you realize that you are the grace. So Helen's saying lots of crying and deep emotional longing. These are all forms of release, Helen. And yeah, it certainly can feel, not great in the body when that kind of stuff's happening. But the key thing is to simply accept that that's here, not judge it in any way. Just simply allow. Let the body do what it needs to do, but in the knowing that there's a higher process, there's a higher awareness that's simply watching all of this, and particularly taking away the judgment and analysis from it. It will make the process easier. Depersonalizing it. It's not really Helen's stuff, even if it feels like it is. And as you just simply allow and trust and watch, trusting only the silent awareness, it just simply dissolves. Livestream 11 again. Good. You've watched that. Lee saying, I do experience the joy is in me. I have some unhealed child aspects. still coming up, but much milder now. I'm embracing it all. Yeah, absolutely embrace it all. You know, we're so conditioned to run away from all this emotional energy that we're experiencing. Society tells us, you know, we shouldn't be articulating and expressing our emotions. This is the worst strategy as far as letting it up, kind of dissolving all of that is concerned. Allow it to be there. Be okay with it. Just simply don't become it. Just simply watch. Simply allow. Simply know that higher awareness is simply inviting it, and that the emotion is simply a messenger or an invitation to let that pass, to let that dissolve. That's all it is. And then it becomes so much less challenging. You can watch the body going through its process and be amazed at that process without getting identified or attached with it. And it just makes it so much easier. And so much more quickly it will pass. That's all. By embracing it. Sometimes I say when I'm doing live one-to-ones with people, just allow it like it comes into the heart space. Not just the physical heart, but the universal heart space. And then the magic happens, because it turns out your heart can bear it all. It's not the heart that's broken, it's the identification, the attachment and belief in ego that creates an overlay of the feeling of brokenness. But it turns out the heart's totally okay and always has been. So by allowing it in to be felt fully and embraced in the heart space and loved, it just automatically dissolves the ice. And it becomes the water or the consciousness or the silence. Just like that. No effort. No effort required. Good. So some good sharing going on here. So thank you for your comments. I can see that there's quite a lot going on. That obviously with those who are committing to the program, these things will naturally happen, but the other side, so to speak, is a much deeper piece. Let it happen. Let it all hang out. Don't become it. Yeah, sometimes I find looking in my eyes in a mirror helps it pass quicker. That's actually a good approach, Lee. Because the eyes are the window to the soul or to the silence. And when you look deeply into that, your focus is on a deeper space than giving all of this noise that's going on up here attention. So others might like to try that. That's really just another version, by the way, Lee, of the open gaze meditation on here with me. What is it that is looking back upon itself but the silence? And you're that. Excellent. Yeah. And it becomes the ultimate comfort, even before the idea or need for comfort. It becomes the awareness. So I just wanted to share one or two things that were shared on email. I'll do this in a non-attributable way. The sort of one or two things people shared things about that have cropped up during the program. One person shared with me that they hadn't necessarily been able to meditate every day. There was a break where they'd had a break that had occurred, and some anger that they'd been experiencing. That just simply went of its own accord. And this is what happens when you allow. You can just allow the anger to be there. Sometimes I sort of say get into the practice of watching, witnessing, knowing all this stuff's going on. And even whilst you're doing the dishes, it can just simply go, because you're not purchasing it, you're not buying into it anymore. So that was a good awareness for that person. One of the other things that they'd said is, think the situations had triggered them, the beauty of certain things. This can also bring up stuff. So just let that happen too. Just let that happen too. Not about judging anything. It's accepting what is, in the knowing that you are the silence. And another comment that is common is that sometimes ego mind goes, I don't want to meditate today. So the question to ask, who is the one that doesn't want to do that? Is that you? Is that the truth of you? Or is it ego trying to prevent its demise? You know the answer. So meditate anyway. Just simply watch that reluctance, that resistance from the silence, and it will dissolve. Ego mind will always think there's something more important than this. And there isn't. And you don't have to believe me on that. Somebody else was starting to move more into general space of meditation in daily living, but there were still some issues coming up around body and so forth, and we tend to create all sorts of expectations about how things should be or ought to be. Just let go of all of those, including the physical dimensions. Just watch, simply watch. Obviously take care of the body, look after the body, but don't create expectations about how things should be. I actually did an interview the other day. I was asked some months ago to do an interview, and one of the questions that came up was, he'd imagined, this interviewer, that it would be like being blissed out 24/7. And it's not like that, because being blissed out is like a phenomenon. And what this is beyond or before all phenomena. It is totally still. Totally silent. It doesn't mean you don't experience sensations in the body. But the awareness is just a silent and still awareness. And if there's any expression that's observed, it's like a subtle perfume of peace and stillness. But it's not a sensation in the typical sense. It's just stillness. Be still and know. So don't create expectations about what it's like, what it is. And then there's another one that I had earlier, which I'm going to also share on a non-attributable basis, because there was a few gems in it, and I'm not going to read all of it, but I just want to share a few bits from it because it was quite important. So one of the experiences that were referred to in this one, which sometimes does happen, person was feeling tired and sleepy and dissatisfied at first, and including some frustration and perplexity with life. And that can certainly happen the more that you commit to meditation at first. It starts to bring up all of the stuff that we've been holding on to. But if you just simply keep going, and watching and allowing and trusting in the process, then all of that starts to pass and you won't fall asleep so often. You will be stiller, you will be quieter. And you can start getting all sorts of physical things unfolding, which is what this person did. And found that just by sitting in the silence, they wanted to continue and stay in the silence. So this is a good sign that if you're feeling more of that just that being still, being silent. And then started to notice that things have started to become more subtly calm and joyful and balanced. And even referred to this idea of the joy being new. Actually, what that says to me, that about the joy being new, it's actually a recognition of the joy that was always there. And one thing that had been particularly important for this person was very important thing. I just felt called to share this with this particular person, but it's true for you all, so I really want to listen you to all hear this one. There is nothing for you to prove. There is nothing for you to prove. The true self is all well, all fine, all perfect, all complete now. Nothing to prove in life. And for this individual who shared this with me, that one observation had been a massive awareness for them. And they went on to share that many years of stuff kind of just started to fall away with that. So just reflect upon that one. There's nothing for you to prove. And then the final bit I just wanted to share from the email from this person was their deepened commitment to this. And they added that they seem to be allowing it to unfold, surrendering rather than trying to do it. And they added, I don't know if that makes sense. And actually it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Let me just say that again. Allowing to unfold, are surrendering perhaps rather than trying to do it. Exactly. It's an allowing. It's an allowing. It's not an efforting. Just looking at Helen's comment there, oh my gosh, that's so painful for me, I will meditate on this. I'm guessing that's to do with there's nothing to prove. Perhaps you can clarify that, Helen. If it is, and it's painful, then what that, yeah, okay, good, I'm glad you clarified that. So what that's saying is that you've been carrying around something there, a belief that there is something for you to prove, and that pain now has come up, and I'm sure it's very painful from the way you've articulated it there. Let that pain be there. Do not judge that pain. Embrace it. Witness it from the silence. Know that that pain isn't really yours, even though the experience of it is very, very real, and I'm certain it is. Been there. Just watch that from the space of the silence. It's presented itself now to you, Helen. This might sound really bizarre, but it's like It's an invitation, a gift to say, Helen, this isn't yours, let it go. Just simply meditate with it, watch it. It never was yours, and there was never anything for you to prove. Even though every single one of us at some point has probably been told, whether by parents, teachers, siblings, you have to prove yourself. No, you don't. Not as far as self-realization is concerned. There's nothing for you to prove. One of the other questions that came up was, I've forgotten it, I'll come back to it. I was just looking at Lois's question. Judgment of non-self comes from ego self, about ego self. Watching that dissolves the ego self. Yes. You remember, I don't know if I've done a stream by this title. Anyway, the thing that I want to say there is truth has no judgment. Truth has no judgment. Only ego mind could do that. Truth has no judgment. So going back to you, Helen, part of that will be a judgment about yourself. Because this idea that there's something to prove is connected directly with a false belief that we all have, which is the idea of being unworthy. And so therefore there's something to prove, that you're good enough. You are already worthy and you're already good enough, even beyond or before those ideas. So I hope this is helping you, Helen. I'm conscious that really is quite big for you. So if you need any help with that, let me know. But this pointing is all directing at you being able to just accept what's here, let it be felt, not judging it, not judging yourself, and simply, there you go, it's about worthlessness. So part of the conditioning that you'll have experienced, we've all experienced in different ways, is this idea about being worthless. And that is a false belief that we take on board from the conditioning from quite an early age, actually. But you are worthy beyond even the idea of worthy. The mere fact that the form of Helen is here. The universe has chosen to express and experience itself in and as the form of Helen. This is the ultimate worthiness. Helen is here in the form of Helen because the universe has chosen that experience. Total and utter worthiness beyond even the idea of worthiness. One is this realized essence already. So no matter how uncomfortable this might be right now, good, Helen. You, not only you love, you are love. And even I'd go further and say you are the source of love. Your heart knows this. Trust that. Trust that. So hopefully that's been useful. What's Lois saying? Christine, trying to find hearts, but they're evading me. Love, love, love. She's found them. Good. Good. Okay. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming up here. And I'm glad that you're all sharing this, because this self-realization is natural, can bring up all sorts of stuff. It'll present all of the stuff that you are not as an invitation for you to release it or dissolve it, just simply by the effortless grace of the silence. That's all. That's all. So that's all I was going to share tonight. We've taken about 55 minutes to do that. I don't know if there's any other questions or things that people want to raise. And thank you for those that shared your feedback. That allowed me to give some general feedback to others. Hope that's been okay for you. So yeah, just simply go with that. Simply go with that. So if there's nothing else coming up, I'm going to go with a meditation now. So yeah, let's get ourselves nice and relaxed. And just simply, what's Lois saying just before we go there? The worthy stuff is so the mind trying to keep us small. I can relate, but it's great to be aware and watch. Yeah, exactly. Just watch. Just watch. It is just mind stuff. It's not truth. It's not truth. So let's just be still. If you want to, close your eyes. Just noticing your body. And just simply being open from the heart of light. I am just wide open from the heart space to that. And as you deepen into that, simply knowing that this energy of spheres of light, or pure I am, is witnessed from the deeper essence that is infinite silence. So simply allow your attention now to dissolve into and as this silence, like the ice dissolving, becoming the water, becoming the ocean, just letting go, dissolving the personal identity, knowing you are already the realized essence. That self-realization is natural. And for those that if you want to, you can use the meditation in the open gaze way and just simply focusing on these eyes. Just simply, if you're participating in the open gaze, just openly looking directly at these eyes. If your eyes are closed, that's fine. All I truly know is silence. Just simple awareness. moment, I'll just put the harp on for a few moments. So just enjoy the harp. I'll just ring the singing bowl 3 times. Good. Good. So when I look at you, this infinite I see me as you. I look at a tree. I am the tree, the flower, the ocean, the earth, the stars, the entire universe. This all the self, all the silence expressed and inexpressible. This natural self, the creator of the cosmic mystery. This is who you are, this awareness. What could be more natural than this? What could be more important than this? Good, good. So thank you to those of you who have managed to make it live. I hope I've said hello to all of you. I think there's 1 or 2 that came on that may not have caught. Possibly Lewis and Elizabeth, maybe. I'm not sure if I missed anybody else. But thank you, whether you're watching live or on catch up, or whether you just haven't put any comments up there. Got time for any more questions or sharing if you would like to do so. Next Friday represents the end of the official end of the 3-month meditation program, but continue. And to mark that, I will do another live stream, so just 1 week gap this time, partly to make up for the fact that we had a 3-week gap, although I did have a week gap before we went. So next stream, 31st of May, 2000 hours UK time. We'll see what emerges for a title and take it from there. Just looking at I've been back and forth, so we'll have to watch back but I've been here for the open gaze. I really felt the silence coming through. Once again, there were so many other faces appearing through your face. Yeah, I think you've had that before, haven't you, Dee? And that's indicative, is that we are all of this. What I was saying just a few minutes ago, I see you looking back at me, and it is me, the infinite, looking back at the infinite. Many faces, many expressions, all this. I don't know if anybody else saw the flash of lightning or not, Simon, but we'll see. I should hopefully sometime in the next few weeks be able to officially launch the new site, the new 3-4 page site, which will have 3 key experiences on, so look out for that. Had an interview the other day, which will become public hopefully reasonably soon as well. That went really well, pleased about that. So that was a good experience. What's Dee saying here? Peace and love and joy are tangible. Getting the feeling I am pretending to be Dee once more. It's got a sense of not being the real me in a deeper way. Somehow there's a deep gratitude going on. Yeah, you're just pretending to be D, appearing as D, but you're really the awareness. You're just the awareness, appearing as D. And that's okay, because the awareness has chosen to appear as D. Just like it had chosen to appear as Helen, as I said earlier, and David. I saw my face smiling in yours too. Good. David. Good. Good. Keep going, folks. You're already this. Self-realization is the most natural thing in the universe. The no-thingness. Always here, always will be. Nothing to do, nothing to prove. Good. Good. Namaste. Have a good weekend, folks. Thank you for joining us once again. I will put the harp on just in case anybody wants to share or ask anything whilst that's on for a few minutes, and if not, I'll close the stream in a few minutes time. So I'm going to go to the logo screen where the harp will be playing, and I'll look out for any comments or questions. So let me just reset that.